Listen to me. Before the world ever sees your success, before anybody claps for you, before your name ever means something, it starts in your mind. The mind is the architect. You can't build a mansion with the blueprint of a shack. You can't live like a king thinking like a servant. The way you think determines the way you move, and the way you move determines what you create. You are not what you wish for. You are what you believe. The mind draws the map, the body just follows. So if your thoughts are small, your life will be small. But if your thoughts are massive, if you dare to dream, if you choose to believe that it's possible, your life will begin to expand beyond anything you imagine. Listen to me. Before the world ever sees your success, before anybody claps for you, before your name ever means something, it starts in your mind. The mind is the blueprint. You can't build a mansion with the blueprint of a shack. You can't live like a king thinking like a servant. Everything that shows up in your life began first as a thought in your head. The way you think determines the way you move, and the way you move determines what you create. You are not what you wish for, you are what you believe. Yeah. So many people spend their lives wanting more, praying for more, dreaming of more, but never taking control of the one thing that shapes everything, their thoughts. You will never experience something outside of what you first see inside. The mind draws the map, the body just follows. That's why it's so critical to guard your thoughts like treasure. Because if your thoughts are small, your life will be small. But if your thoughts are massive, if you dare to believe that something bigger is possible for you, your life will begin to expand beyond what you ever imagined. You see, the reason so many people never reach their potential isn't because they lack skill, opportunity, or talent. It's because they've allowed their minds to convince them they're not capable. They've accepted limitation as true. But the truth is, you are capable of far more than you think. The mind is a tool, and if you don't use it, it will use you. You have to build your mental foundation before you can build your life. If your mind is filled with fear, excuses, and doubt, it's like trying to plant seeds in dry soil. Nothing will grow. But when your mind is filled with belief, focus, and vision, growth becomes inevitable. Every successful person you admire today was once just a person who decided to think differently. They refused to accept average thoughts. They trained their minds to see possibility where others saw problems. They built mental blueprints that matched the future they wanted to live in. That's where transformation begins, in your inner world. You don't need everything around you to change. You need you to change. The moment you change your thinking, your circumstances will follow. You have to learn to create in your mind before you create in your hands. You want success? Picture it. You want strength? Think it. You want peace? Speak it into existence through your thoughts. Because whatever the mind focuses on long enough, the body will chase after. The world you experience is nothing more than the reflection of your dominant thoughts. You can't build a winning life with a losing mindset. You can't expect to rise while thinking like a victim. You can't talk about being successful while feeding yourself doubt. You have to replace every negative thought with one that moves you forward. When you say, I can't, your mind shuts down and stops searching for a way. But when you say, I can, your mind begins to look for opportunity, connections, and resources that align with that belief. Your brain is designed to bring your thoughts to life. That's his job. So what are you programming it with? Every time you say you're tired, you get weaker. Every time you say you're broke, you block abundance. Every time you say you're not enough, you teach your mind to settle. But when you say, I'm built for this, when you tell yourself, I'm unstoppable, when you repeat, I can and I will, you ignite something powerful inside of you. Your brain starts building that version of you brick by brick, habit by habit, decision by decision. That's how the mind creates the man. You have to decide what blueprint you're building from. Some people are still using the same blueprint they got from parents who struggled, teachers who doubted them, friends who laughed at their dreams. You can't build a skyscraper on a broken foundation. You have to redesign that mental plan. If your old beliefs tell you you're not smart enough, not strong enough, not worthy enough, tear that down. Start again. Build a new plan. Build it with confidence, discipline, and faith, because the mind is always building whether you know it or not. It's either building excuses or building greatness. It's either building comfort or building purpose. The question is, what are you allowing to build today? When your vision is clear, when your thoughts are aligned with your goals. You begin to walk differently, talk differently, live differently, live. People will look at you and think something changed overnight, but it didn't. It started long before they saw it. It started when you shifted your thinking. You spoke success into existence before it ever showed up. You visualized, you want it before it became real. That's what winners do. They think it before they see it. That's what separates the dreamers from the doers. Your mind is your workshop. Every dream you have will be constructed there first. The problem isn't that life is hard. The problem is that most people have let their minds run wild. They've allowed their thoughts to become like an untrained animal, loud, restless, and uncontrollable. You gotta understand something. Your mind will always talk to you. It will whisper doubts. It will magnify fears. It will feed excuses. Every morning when you wake up, your mind is a meeting with you. It will say you're tired, stay in bed. It will tell you that you are not ready yet. It will try to convince you that you don't have what it takes. But that's the moment where you have to decide who's in charge. Because if you don't control your mind will control you. You have to train your thoughts the same way an athlete trains their body. You have to put discipline into your mental game. It's not just about what happens around you. It's about what happens inside of you. When you learn to control your mind, you learn to control the man you become. See, the mind will always find a reason to quit. It will always look for comfort, for the easy route, for the shortcut. But you were not built for easy. You were built for greatness. You gotta fight for that control every single day. You don't just wake up with mental strength. You build it, you develop it, you train it. When your mind starts feeding you lies, you have to talk back. You have to say, no, I'm not giving in. You have to remind yourself who you are and why you started. The people who rise to greatness aren't the ones who never feel fear or doubt. They're the ones who refuse to let fear and doubt make their decisions. They've learned how to take charge of their thoughts before their thoughts take charge of them. You can't let your emotions be the driver. Too many people make emotional decisions and then wonder why their life feels out of control. Your emotions are a reflection of your thoughts, and your actions are a reflection of your emotions. It all starts in the mind. When your thinking is weak, your feelings are unstable, and your actions become inconsistent. But when your thinking is strong, your emotions are balanced, and your actions become focused. That's how you start winning. You control your thoughts, which control your emotions, which control your actions, which shape your destiny. Control the mind, control the man. It's a chain reaction that always begins in the same place, your mental space. Every great champion has fought this battle. It's not about how talented they are, it's about how mentally tough they are. When the mind says stop, the great ones say adjust one more rep. When the mind says you can't, they respond, watch me. When the mind says you've done enough, they push for more. That's the mindset of a winner. Because your body will stop long before your mind does, if you let it. The real fight isn't out there in the world. The real fight is in your head. Every morning you step into the ring with your own thoughts. The voice of comfort versus the voice of growth. The voice of fear versus the voice of faith. The question is, which voice are you going to listen to? When you control your mind, you stop being a victim of circumstances. You stop reacting to everything that happens and start creating what you want to happen. You stop waiting for motivation and start acting from discipline. That's when you become dangerous. Because a man who has mastered his mind can't be broken. You can throw him into the storm and he'll still find peace. You can strip him of everything and he'll rebuild it better. You can doubt him, mock him, reject him, but he'll still rise. Because his power doesn't come from outside validation, it comes from internal control. That's the kind of strength that can't be taken, can't be taught. It has to be developed through consistency, through awareness, through repetition. You have to remind yourself that the mind is a muscle. You strengthen it through struggle. Every time you say a no to a distraction, you build it. Every time you push through a tough day, you grow it. Every time you silence the negative voice in your head, you take back control. This isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about winning the small battles in your head day after day until it becomes your default setting. It begins when you build a disciplined mind. Your body follows. Your habits follow. Your life follows. You have to start speaking power into your thoughts. Every time you hear that inner voice say, you can't, respond with, I can. When it says, we're tired, say, I'm built for this. When it says, it's too late, say, it's my time. You have to be louder than your doubts. You have to be stronger than your fears. You have to take control so completely that even your weakness obeys your command. That's how you evolve. That's how you grow into the man you were meant to be. You ever notice how people who talk about problems always have more of them? You ever see how the ones who focus on opportunity, gratitude, and growth keep finding ways to win? That's not luck, that's focus. The mind works like a magnet. Whatever you give your attention to, you attract more of it. If you keep focusing on what's wrong, you'll keep seeing what's wrong. But if you focus on what's right, on what's possible, your mind will start creating the path to make it happen. That's how powerful focus is. What you think about most becomes a pattern of your life. What you feed your mind will grow. Feed it fear, it will grow fear. Feed it faith, it will grow courage. Feed it excuses, it will grow weakness. Feed it vision, it will grow strength. Your focus determines your future. Every single day, you're training your mind whether you realize it or not. Every scroll on your phone, every conversation you engage in, every thought you entertain, it's all feeding your focus. The question is, what are you feeding it? Most people don't understand that their focus is shaping their identity. They give energy to gossip, to negativity, to things that drain them, and then wonder why they feel stuck. You can't grow in an environment filled with noise and distractions. You have to protect your focus like it's gold, because it is. What you look at consistently becomes your reality. If you keep looking at failure, you'll stay in failure. But if you start looking at victory, if you start seeing yourself as capable, discipline as chosen, your life will begin to rise to meet that vision. When you focus on problems, your energy drains. But when you focus on solutions, your energy multiplies. That's why successful people don't waste time complaining. They spend time creating. They've learned that where focus goes, energy flows. You can't build a positive life with negative attention. You can't expect success when your mind is stuck on struggle. You have to train yourself to redirect your focus every time negativity tries to pull you back. It's not easy, but it's necessary. Every time your mind wants to wander into doubt, bring it back to vision. Every time it wants to dwell on failure, bring it back to progress. Every time it wants to focus on what you don't have, bring it back to what you can build. That's mental discipline. That's focus, mass focus. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever seeds you plant will eventually show up in your life. If you keep planting thoughts of lack, insecurity, and fear, don't be surprised when weeds take over. But if you plant thoughts of abundance, confidence, and persistence, you'll harvest greatness. The thing is, you can't just plant once. You have to cultivate it every day. That's how focus works. You have to guard your mental soil from weeds, from negativity, from people who drain your energy, from environments that kill your motivation. You have to choose carefully what you allow in, because every thought is a seed, and those seeds are either growing your future or choking it. You have to understand, your focus is your superpower. The moment you learn to direct it intentionally, everything changes. The difference between winners and losers isn't just effort, it's attention. Losers get distracted by every little thing. Winners lock in. Winners know that energy spent on distractions is energy stolen from dreams. They focus so hard on the goal that failure doesn't have space to exist. They don't allow their mind to wander into doubt because they've trained it to stay on purpose. You can't achieve greatness halfway focused. You can't build a vision with scattered thoughts. The man who controls his focus controls his world. When you start focusing on what you want instead of what you want, instead of what you fear, you activate the creative part of your brain. You start seeing opportunities that were invisible before. You begin to attract the right people, the right timing, the right energy. The world responds to focus. That's why you can't afford to waste it. Every distraction steals a piece of your destiny. Every moment you spend worrying is a moment you could have spent building. You have to learn to say no, not because you're arrogant, but because you're aligned. You have to learn to tune out the noise and dial into your vision. That's how you build a life that reflects your purpose instead of your problems. People will think you've changed, and they're right, because focused people move differently. They walk with intention, they talk with direction. They don't entertain drama or chaos because their eyes are fixed on something bigger. Focus makes you unstoppable. When your mind is locked on the goal, no amount of failure can discourage you. No amount of pain can break you. You start to understand that setbacks are part of the process, not signs of defeat. You learn to extract lessons instead of losses. You start building momentum because your focus refuses to shift. You attract what you are, not what you want. Life doesn't give you what you dream about. It gives you what you're prepared for, the energy you care, the thoughts you think, the beliefs you hold deep inside. They all reflect back to you. The mind is a mirror, and the world you live in is just its reflection. If your mind is full of fear, doubt, and insecurity, then that's exactly what you'll keep seeing around you. But if your mind is full of confidence, strength, and faith, that's what will come back to you. The outside world is just an echo of your inner world. So if you want to change what's happening around you, you got to start by changing what's happening within you. That's the real work. That's the battle most people never fight. When you look in the mirror every morning, what you see? Not your clothes, not your face. What do you really see? Some people look and see a failure, someone who's not good enough, someone who's been broken too many times. But that reflection is not reality. It's just a product of your thoughts. The mirror doesn't lie, but it reflects the story you tell yourself. You tell yourself you're weak, you'll start living weak. If you tell yourself you're unstoppable, you start walking like it. That's how the mind works. It doesn't just show who you are, it shows who you believe you are. And that's why affirmations matter. That's why self-talk matters. You're programming your reflection every time you open your mouth. You have to take control of that mirror. You can't let your past define what you see. You can't let other people's opinions write your reflection. The mirror belongs to you. You get to decide who stands there every time you look at yourself. You should be reminding that reflection. I'm built for this. I'm not average. I'm not weak. I'm made for greatness. The more you say it, the more you believe it. The more you believe it, the more you become it. The mirror becomes your training ground. You start building confidence in private before the world ever sees it. You start speaking power into your spirit until that reflection starts looking back like, yeah, I'm here, I'm ready. See, the world treats you based on the energy you project. You ever notice how confident people attract respect? How people with positive energy draw others in? It's not magic, it's mindset. The mind is like a transmitter, always sending out signal. When you walk around with doubt, people sense it. When you walk with conviction, people feel it. The way you carry yourself, the way you think, the way you talk, it all flows from your inner mirror. That's why you can't fake it. You can post confidence, you can act strong for a while, but if your thoughts are weak, it'll show. The mirror never lies. If you want people to see greatness, you have to first see it within yourself. And here's the truth. That reflection you see is not fixed. It's not permanent. You can rebuild it anytime. You can rewrite the story. Maybe right now you see someone who's lost, someone who's been beaten down by life. But you don't have to stay that person. You can choose to rebuild. You can choose to believe something new. Every thought is a stroke on that mirror. Every belief a new color on that canvas. You can wipe away what no longer serves you and start again. Because greatness doesn't come from perfection. It comes from transformation. It comes from facing that reflection and saying, I will not stay the same. Start talking to your reflection like you would to someone you love. Encouraging, challenging, reminded that it's capable of more. Every morning, look in that mirror and declare who you are. I'm disciplined, I'm focused, I'm chosen, I'm enough. It might feel strange at first, but keep doing it until that voice in your head believes it. The mirror is your first audience. And if you can convince that audience, you can convince the world. Because once your mind believes something, your actions start to follow. You start walking differently. You start showing up with purpose. The energy around you shifts because you shifted. That's how powerful the mind is. It creates the version of you that the world gets to meet. If you carry peace inside, you'll bring peace into every room. If you carry confidence, you'll walk into opportunities that fear would have made you miss. If you carry negativity, you'll repel growth. That's why it's not about pretending. It's about transforming. You have to do the inner work until your reflection matches your purpose. You have to speak faith until fear fades. Speak discipline until laziness disappears. Speak vision until doubt dissolves. When you finally start seeing the person you're supposed to be in that mirror, everything changes. The man in the mirror isn't built by money, titles, or recognition. He's built by mindset. He's built by daily battles, private prayers, and inner growth. He's built by thoughts that refuse to quit. At the end of the day, it's not your money, your status, or your titles that define you. It's your mindset. The greatest men in history weren't born powerful. They didn't start with fame or fortune. They started with a thought, a belief that they were capable of something greater than what the world told them they could be. That belief lived in their minds long before it ever became real. The mind creates the legacy. Every achievement, every empire, every movement started first as an idea. The difference between the man who gives up and the man who becomes great isn't in what they have, it's in how they think. One man sees obstacles, the other sees opportunity. One man sees failure as the end, the other sees it as a lesson. The way you interpret your challenges determines the kind of legacy you'll leave behind. You have to understand it's the foundation of everything you build. You can have all the resources, connections, and luck in the world, but if your mind isn't right, it won't last. A weak mind can't sustain strong success. But when your mind is solid, when it's disciplined, focused, and unshakable, you can lose everything and still rebuild it stronger. That's the power of mindset. That's the power of a man whose foundation is built in thought, not in things. When your mind is right, even failure can't stop you because you understand that every loss is a lesson, every setback is a setup, and every challenge is just training for what's next. The mind creates the man. But the man with the right mind creates a legacy that lasts beyond his lifetime. The legacy you leave isn't about what you collect. It's about what you create. It's about how you think, how you act, and how you inspire. Some people spend their whole lives trying to change the world, but they forget that real change starts in the mind. The most powerful thing you can do is control your thoughts, because your thoughts shape your actions, and your actions shape the world around you. The man who masters his mind doesn't just live. He builds something that lives after him. Every word he speaks, every decision he makes, every risk he takes becomes part of the story that others will remember. And that story starts in your head. You have to build it before you live it. You have to see it before you hold it. You have to believe it before anyone else does. The world will doubt you. People will question your dream. But the mind that's locked in on purpose doesn't need approval. It doesn't need permission. It doesn't need applause. It knows where it's going, even when no one else sees the vision. That's how legacies are born. From faith that refuses to die. From belief that refuses to bend. Every great achievement started in someone's imagination. Every revolution began in someone's conviction. The power was always in the mind. You have to protect that power. Your mind is the most valuable thing you own. Protect it from negativity. Protect it from fear. Protect it from the opinions of people who don't see your vision. Because what you allow into your mind becomes the energy that drives your actions. If you let the world pour doubt into you, you'll start walking in doubt. But if you pour faith, discipline, and courage into your thoughts, you'll start walking like a man who can't be stopped. That's how legacies are written, by people who guard their mindset like it's sacred. Because it is. It is. The mind is sacred ground. And what you plant there determines what you reap in life. The man who builds his mind builds his future. The man who builds his future builds his legacy. You might not see it now, but every choice you make, every thought you think, every action you take, it's all adding to the story people will tell about you one day. What will that story be? Will it be about someone who gave up when life got hard? Or someone who kept fighting because his mind wouldn't let him quit? Legacy isn't about being remembered. It's about what you do with the time you have. It's about leaving something behind that outlives your body, your character, your values, your impact. And that all starts in the mind. You have to decide right now. You have to decide right now what kind of man you want to become. Not tomorrow, not next year, right now. Because every day you're either building your legacy or destroying it. You're either feeding your mind with power or poisoning it with doubt. The choice is yours. You can think small and live small, or you can expand your thinking and rise above everything that's tried to hold you back. The legacy you leave isn't written in stone. It's written in thought. It's created through consistency, sacrifice, and belief. So train your mind to see beyond the moment. Train it to stay strong when life shakes you. Train it to push forward when the world says stop. But because your mind is the birthplace of everything you'll ever become, your legacy starts there. You don't have to wait to be great. You don't have to wait for success to show up.